Good morning, everybody. Honorable Chief Executive Lam, Secretary General Lim, distinguished panelists, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Stokes, and it is my great honor and pleasure as Chairman of the Board of Directors to welcome you to the Global Maritime Forum inaugural summit in Hong Kong. There is a well-known saying of the Chinese Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Today, we are taking the first step together on a journey to shape the future of global seaborne trade and thereby to increase sustainable economic development and, hopefully, human well-being. This might sound ambitious. It is. But we must never forget that the maritime industry already plays an essential and very positive role in human society. Around 90% of all trade is carried on ships. Whether it is food, fuels, or goods from factories all around the globe, it is transported by ship. A world without shipping would be unimaginable and a lot poorer. But being the lifeblood of global trade is no longer enough to satisfy the expectations of world society. More is expected of us as an industry. We must make shipping more environmentally sustainable and reduce carbon emissions. We must provide efficient trade links to emerging economies to enable growing populations, especially in Africa, to live better lives. We must adapt to new digital technologies and business models that could revolutionize our industry and change the way trade flows are managed. We must provide attractive careers and safe working conditions for our employees, both at sea and on shore. And while doing all this, we must run profitable businesses that will allow us to prosper in a world of increasing geopolitical uncertainty. This is no easy task, and it is not something any of us can do on our own. And working together to address difficult issues, such as those I just mentioned, is at the core of what we want to achieve with the Global Maritime Forum. The Global Maritime Forum is founded on the idea that bringing together leaders from across the global maritime spectrum, those who have the drive and influence to make change happen, in short, all of you, will generate results which otherwise would not have been achievable. We are hoping to facilitate collaboration where until now there has generally been fragmentation and confrontation. Today I am opening the first summit held by the Global Maritime Forum, but we are not starting from scratch. We are building on the experience of the Danish Maritime Forums held in 2014, 15, and 16, where many of you participated. We drew 3 key lessons from the summits in Copenhagen based on your input. Firstly, we need a forum where the leaders from across the global maritime industry and its stakeholders can meet and work together to address common challenges as a community, not as individual organizations. We need a forum that will not just facilitate discussions, but can also foster concrete action. And we need a forum that moves between global maritime hubs to reflect the global character of our industry rather than being tied to a single country or city. Global, action, community. Those are 3 words that, to me, sum up why we are here together in Hong Kong. Getting from Copenhagen to Hong Kong has not been a simple journey, and we could not have done it without your help and support. I would like to thank Anna Stephensen of Danish Shipping and Andreas Nodset of the Danish Maritime Authority for allowing us to use the know-how gained from the Danish Maritime Forum as the basis for the creation of the Global Maritime Forum. I would also like to thank our partners who have supported the establishment of the Global Maritime Forum and our work. Without your support, both financially and intellectually, we would not be here today. Thank you. I would also like to thank the Honorable Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region for being here. We are deeply honored that you will be addressing us today. And of course, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to come and be part of the Global Maritime Forum. Without your active participation, there could be no summit. I started out by quoting Lao Tzu. I would like to end my opening remarks with a saying from Africa. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I look forward to going far together with you over the next 2 days and beyond. And knowing many of the people in this room, I think that we may even manage to go far quickly. Before I leave the stage, please allow me to introduce our moderator for the summit, Mrs. Gillian Tett. Gillian is US Managing Editor of the Financial Times and has experience with the maritime community from the summit in Copenhagen in 2016, so we will be in very good hands. Gillian, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much indeed for that kind introduction, and it is fantastic to be back again with you all after Copenhagen. I'm delighted to be here. I'm going to offer some reflections in a few moments, but before I do, I'd like to invite up to the stage the Honourable Mrs. Carrie Lam, Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, to offer some opening remarks. It's a great honour to have her here, so we look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Mr. Stokes, Mr. Lim, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm pleased to be here for the annual summit of the Global Maritime Forum to have this welcome opportunity to address this distinguished audience, comprising business and institutional leaders with the power, the passion, and the vision to make a difference for the great maritime industry and the world. My colleague has warned me that, Chief Executive, you are going to a venue which is a fishbowl. So I have to be very careful. But I want to commend the organizer for choosing this venue. This is, of course, the Kai Tak International Cruise Terminal, which is sitting on a site. That is our airport, the Kai Tak International Airport. So while the past of this site was aviation, the present and the future will be maritime. I understand that this is the first time the summit has taken place outside of Denmark. I'm delighted you have chosen Hong Kong for your inaugural Global Maritime Gathering. The theme of the summit is Breaking New Ground, which makes Hong Kong an even ideal place for the summit, as in this term of the Hong Kong SAR government, I have made innovation a key requirement, whether in policy formulation or government roles and practices. To assist me in doing so, I set up earlier this year the Chief Executive's Council of Advisors on Innovation and Strategic Development. And Dr. Victor Fung, who's going to speak to you later on, is one of my advisors. And the Council discussed aviation and maritime just at this meeting last month. So we do hope to be breaking some new ground in our maritime industry in order to remain a global force through this 21st century. The maritime industry is a cornerstone of international trade. More than 80% of global trade by volume is handled by shipping and a great global network of ports. At the same time, the maritime industry is susceptible to external influences, and we've certainly had a few of those so far this year. Of particular concern for many, including Hong Kong, is a sudden spate of trade disputes, most notably between the world's two largest economies, the United States and China. A protracted trade logjam between them would undoubtedly squeeze cargo flow across seas. Operating costs are also increasing, partly because of the International Maritime Organization's 2020 sulfur cap. But Mr. Lim, don't get me wrong, while it will have an impact on the maritime industry, we fully support this initiative, given the expected gains in environmental protection. As a matter of fact, in 2015, Hong Kong became the first city in Asia to mandate a fuel switching requirement for ocean-going vessels, thanks to Christine Low, my former Deputy Secretary for the Environment. That landmark decision has significantly reduced concentrations of ambient sulfur dioxide in the area welling out from our Cheng containers terminal. And to step up control over maritime and marine emissions, we plan to mandate that vessels using 0.5% low sulfur fuel in Hong Kong waters. If approved by our legislature, the requirement will take effect next year, slashing emissions of sulfur dioxide and particulates from ocean-going vessels here by about 75% and 70% respectively. More than ever, it's cooperation and partnership at the regional and global levels that will help us overcome external challenges. It is my government's determination to connect with the world and to look for opportunities to collaborate with other economies. Since taking office in July last year, I have been to a dozen of cities in the mainland and over 10 countries in Asia and Europe, including port cities like Marseille, with a clear goal of forging closer ties with our partners or potential partners worldwide. The Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board, chaired by our Secretary for Transport and Housing, Frank Cheng, has also visited prominent maritime cities to expand connections and the opportunities they can bring. Last year, in London, the board signed a memorandum of understanding with its UK counterpart, both sides keen to promote their maritime strengths and develop talent so essential to the industry's future. Next month, Maritime London will be among the international maritime community taking part in our annual Hong Kong Maritime Week, organized by the board along with our Ship Owners Association and Maritime Museum. It's a week overflowing with conferences and seminars, industry briefings, networking events, and maritime-themed community activities, all in celebration of our maritime legacy and future. Next month as well, the board will visit Copenhagen and Oslo, and I look forward to establishing stronger maritime connections between Hong Kong and the Nordic nations. Those connections and the opportunities we hope to realize from them will be driven largely by innovation and technology. Automation and digitalization are transforming the global maritime industry. Automated ships, big data, blockchain, robotics, and so on are reshaping the modus operandi of the maritime supply chain. Take e-commerce as an example. Global retail e-commerce sales reached $2.3 trillion last year. By 2021, they are projected to more than double to $5 trillion. That's great news for the logistics industry. But I also believe that seaborne transportation will have a role to play in this booming trade, particularly with cross-border e-commerce continuing to thrive. And this is where innovation and technology will make their indelible mark. Decades ago, containers were packed with bundles of products that required additional packaging or value-added services before being put up for sale. These days, containers are filled with ready-for-sale parcels packaged for individual consumers. Container shipping clients have expanded from large-scale manufacturing companies to numerous small and medium-sized enterprises. Maritime business must adapt to new business models, offering such smart solutions as digitalized platforms for better shipment tracking and the use of big data in analyzing consumer behavior. At the same time, cybersecurity and risk allocation must be addressed to protect the interests of all concerned. Apart from innovation and technology, we need to maintain a continuing wave of fresh talent to manage the expansion of global trade and the world's shipping fleets. It's not an easy task given the demands, both professional and personal, of a career at sea. But I can assure you that my government is working hard to expand our talent flow. In 2014, for example, we set up the Maritime and Aviation Training Fund. It encourages young people to make their careers in the industries while enhancing the qualifications and competency of existing professionals. I know that the Great Talent Challenge will be discussed this afternoon, both in a working session and follow-up breakout sessions. No doubt that will stimulate ideas on how best to attract and retain promising young talent, as well as how best to ensure a bright future for them and for the industry as a whole. The opportunities will surely be there thanks to the far-reaching Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative has been designed to expand transnational and intercontinental connectivity. It is built to create long-term business prospects, not only for the mainland, but for the economies of Asia, Europe, Africa, and even Latin America, particularly those nations situated along the 21st century maritime Silk Road. That connectivity embraces infrastructure, policy coordination, trade, financial integration, and people-to-people bonds. In boosting trade links, increasing capital flow, and attracting infrastructure investment, it will catalyze vast opportunities for seaborne trade and maritime services. As an international maritime center and global trade and investment hub, Hong Kong has what it takes to be the business bridge between East and West. Located at the heart of Asia and at the doorstep of China, Hong Kong is strategically positioned and supremely well connected to the world's major cities and trade centers. We are situated along the most thriving international sea routes. Our container terminal is one of the world's busiest ports. Our liner services connect to 470 destinations a week, and we maintain sea cargo operations with 58 countries along the Belt and Road corridor. Despite Hong Kong's clear strengths, maintaining the competitiveness of our maritime sector remains a formidable challenge. Slightly more than a decade ago, Hong Kong Port was ranked first worldwide in total throughput handled. Last year, it finished fifth, a slight attributable to fierce competition for regional ports coupled with internal constraints in land and manpower supply and international economic uncertainties. To maintain competitiveness, we are pursuing new opportunities, particularly through national developments and initiatives. Together with the Belt and Road, the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area has the greatest potential. The development brings together Hong Kong, Macau, and 9 prosperous cities in southern China, with a population of nearly 70 million and an aggregate GDP of about 1.5 trillion US dollars. The Bay Area is a huge market on its own. Further, the Bay Area will take full advantage of each city's unique strengths, consolidating resources and maximizing each other's business potential. While Hong Kong faces fierce competition in cargo trade, we remain highly competitive in professional services. More than 800 companies, from ship finance and leasing to insurance, ship management, legal and arbitration services, are profitably engaged in the international maritime business here. Many of the world's leading ship brokers keep offices in Hong Kong. So too do nearly 90 authorized ship insurers, some 35 of which are foreign insurers. That's hardly surprising, given Hong Kong's standing as the world's freest economy. A week ago today, Canada's Fraser Institute once again named Hong Kong the freest economy in the world in its annual Economic Freedom of the World report. Earlier this year, the Washington-based Heritage Foundation named Hong Kong the world's freest economy for the 24th year in a row. We are also among the world's most competitive economies, rated second globally in this year's World Competitiveness Yearbook. That's thanks to a low and simple tax regime, a level playing field for business, and the rule of law, backed by an independent judiciary. Let me add that the Hong Kong Shipping Register is the fourth largest in the world, with a total of about 120 million gross tons. Its reputation for fleet quality is well known worldwide, and that's reflected in our very low detention rate. And our Marine Department continues to enhance our shipping register. Since last year, for example, our overseas and mainland offices have helped deliver the certificate of registry to select maritime cities, expediting the sailing of overseas ships registered in our shipping register. The Belt and Road Initiative in the Bay Area will create searching needs for legal and dispute resolution expertise, as well as other professional services, including investment and risk assessment, research, financing, insurance, and accounting. We have all the professionals here in Hong Kong working with clients from the mainland and from all over the world. They give Hong Kong our clear competitive edge, providing high value-added services for mainland companies looking to go out to the world, and for a world of companies looking to the booming markets of the mainland and throughout Asia. To ensure that the world is aware of our business prospects, particularly when it comes to the maritime industry, a dedicated maritime desk has already been set up at Invest Hong Kong to promote Hong Kong's wide-ranging maritime expertise and value, communicating those advantages to overseas and mainland maritime cities. You may wonder, where is the new ground that we intend to break, having listened to me in the last 10 minutes or so? I'm afraid this is a timing, not a substance issue, because I will be delivering my second annual policy address this time next week, and it is not possible for me to disclose the content of my policy address and on whether we have any measures to boost maritime services in Hong Kong, but just watch out for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Hong Kong has a proud history of accomplishment as an international maritime center and global trade hub. With the concerted efforts of government and industry and the support of international organizations such as yours, I am confident that our maritime industry's record of achievement and innovation will continue long into the future. My thanks again to the Global Maritime Forum for organizing the Global Maritime Summit here, your first global summit in Hong Kong. I wish you all a rewarding summit and smooth sailing in the coming years. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much indeed to the Honourable Mrs. Lam. As I said earlier, it's been a great honour to have her address the group. She unfortunately needs to leave for another official engagement at the moment, but thank you for your words.